Hello, and welcome to the fourth episode of Two Chicks, One Show. My name is Tricia, and she is Kate. We are the Two Chicks. This week's One Show is Outlander. We're going to be discussing episode 4, which aired last Saturday, The Gathering. Kate, why don't you tell us what it was about?
Okay, so in last week's episode, Claire tries to escape the castle, but she fails miserably. Meanwhile, we get some more information about what it's like in the Mackenzie society that she has fallen into.
And part of that was we get to learn a lot more about Dougal,
Yes.
who is Jamie's other uncle. Callum is the laird, and then Dougal is sort of like his second in command slash guy who actually can use his legs. And he's still questionable, like whether or not he's friend or foe to Claire.
Yes.
Which I think
Major, Dougal question mark. I just cannot read the dude. I want to like him.
yeah, I do too. I'd like to think that he's a friend, but he never really does anything that's like overtly friendly. Like Jamie has done so many things for Claire that it's actually getting a little annoying.
Yes.
But but Dougal, he's really in it for himself for the most part, but he's never mean, but he's never really that nice either.
Yeah, I think he's clearly, I want to say he's neutral, but he's clearly not neutral because he does have some kind of interest in Claire. And I think mainly it's because he just doesn't know what's up with this chick. Like, is she a spy? Is she a witch? Is she this? I think there's just, as much as there's a question mark as us as audience viewing Dougal through Claire's eyes, I think that question mark is even bigger for Dougal of who Claire is.
Right, I think he's like fiercely loyal to Clan Mackenzie.
Hmm.
And I think that's why we view him as kind of a threat to Claire, because she's kind of a threat to them,
Yeah.
which is just so questionable. But at the same time, this week we had The Gathering, which
Yeah.
was literally a gathering of Mackenzies.
It
Uh,
was the coolest party that could possibly happen. It was just booze and sex and laughter and music everywhere.
Scott-
Every
Scottish dangerous like field games.
yeah. Do
I
the
don't.
Scots invent field hockey?
I have no idea. They certainly invented a really brutal form of field hockey,
It was field hockey mixed with rugby. That was what was going on.
which makes sense considering Scottish folk are quite adept at rugby,
Yeah.
which is a dangerous sport in and of itself. But then, if you think about the Highland games, they throw logs, full trees, just throw them.
I guess.
They're
There's a bunch of manly men.
manly men in skirts,
Yeah.
wearing nothing under them.
Yeah. Danger.
Yes. Anyway, so the gathering is going on, which means there's a lot of drunk Scotsmen, which I suppose is sort of all the time. And one of the big things, as you said, this week was all Claire trying to escape from Castle Leoch. We saw at the end of the last episode that she was going to escape, whether it killed her, or otherwise. And this week was all her making her plans and gathering food and finding a horse and doing all this stuff and getting ready to escape, and then she fails miserably because she runs into a bunch of drunk Scotsmen.
Well, here's my thing, is that I think I've said this every episode so far. Claire seems like one of the most intelligent women out there, but then she picks sometimes she does the stupidest things. If I were to escape from a castle, I probably wouldn't choose during the gathering. I can get why she thought it was a good idea, because there was going to be a lot of people, so she could easily, and they were going to be drunk. But still, a lot of people, someone's going to see you.
Yeah, I agree, but at the same time, I think I would also pick the gathering because so many people are distracted. No one's going to question a person being out and about, in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
She happens to run into a bunch of drunk people who then attack her.
Yes.
Which is, I think that's our second instance of semi-rape
Mm-hmm.
in the episode. I mean, the first one when she's in the very first episode attacked by Blackjack Randall.
Yeah.
That was most definitely rape, and the second one was sort of like them going, "Ooh, you're pretty, and we're drunk, so we're going to do this," and then getting attacked by Dougal, and then Dougal taking advantage of her. Although I don't think that would have gone any further than him kissing her in the hallway.
I don't think it would have either. I think Dougal was extremely drunk.
Yes.
But it was still uncomfortable because I want to like him, and then he goes and like does something, and I'm just like what, like what's going on? Like I can't figure him out, and it's really bugging me. I
think maybe he fears for his power in Castle Leoch, in Clan Mackenzie and everything, which is one of the things. Like he's obviously a good leader.
Yeah.
I think so anyway.
And like his men are extremely loyal to him.
Right. Which
then does to another point where they go out on like a little hunt kind of thing, which kind of I was watching it and it kind of reminded me of when Robert Baratheon went out for a hunt with a boar and he didn't survive. We all know how that
goes. Hunting is like crazy dangerous.
Yeah, like don't do it. Like just don't do it. Like people
die, especially if you are in one of these shows. Someone's gonna die.
Don't go to weddings and don't go boar hunting. That's what we're learning. And you just don't do it.
I knew boar hunting wasn't like a good, easy thing to do because they've got tusks and they're not exactly nice. But at the same time, like I feel like they go boar hunting like in Lord of the Flies, and I don't think anybody dies. Although they also have a kid they named Piggy who they pretend to boar hunt at one point. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And then they go boar hunting in Lost. Nobody dies during that when they totally should have.
I don't know. I'm just like I'm deathly afraid of boars now.
Apparently, yeah. Let's just not encounter a boar. At least not try to hunt down a boar because they're gonna kill you.
They're gonna kill you. So they go on a hunt. They go on a boar hunt, and Claire goes out like as like the EMT, like it's like you know like when you have like a professional like sport and there's like an ambulance like in the not the dugout, I guess like the tunnels. That's what she was for the boar hunt. Like she was like on standby the whole time. And
which I guess was a good thing considering how many people got hurt.
Yeah, like all of a sudden it was like they needed more of Claire because like there were just screams coming from everywhere. But there was one gentleman of the clan who did get struck by the boar and was meeting his demise. And Dougal stayed with him the whole time. And Claire stayed with the man as well the whole time. And he passed after, you know, Claire gave him a nice final thought. And the whole entire time I was like, okay, is this a scene where like Dougal's being redeemed for almost raping Claire? Because like now she's like kind of like, oh, the way like it was just like.
I think it might have been a way for them to be like, yeah, we had that scene, and yeah, that's sort of what happens here, but he was also very drunk, and this is what he's like when he's being himself.
Yeah.
And also I think it was to make him sort of like a trustworthy type person for like in the field, because as we find out at the end of the episode, we're going to be seeing a lot more of Dougal in the field with Claire.
In action. Dougal in action.
Yes, Dougal in action.
Yeah,
I think that was a good scene for him.
I liked that scene because I think during that moment, Dougal and Claire found like almost like a common denominator where they're both are familiar with that kind of situation. Watching a man die, being able to give him peace, and that kind of thing.
Yeah, because he notices that this is obviously not her first time seeing a man die in the field.
Yeah, and that's kind of that's what his reaction to Claire's reaction leads Dougal to decide that she will go on the road. They're going on the road, guys.
Yes, they're going on the road. Claire and Dougal, the world tour.
Yeah. Well, the Scottish division.
Yes, the Scottish tour. Yeah. I'm wondering if Jamie's going to go with them on that.
Oh, he is.
Hey, did they say he was, or you're just assuming, yeah, he is?
No, like, if you watch the preview, he's there.
Oh, okay. I didn't watch the preview.
And I just want to say, you know how we were having that discussion last week whether Claire was going to marry Jamie?
Yeah.
Well, I was going through actually something that I wrote, and in the synopsis for the show, it says she does marry Jamie. So there was really no prediction.
There was no prediction at all. That was just us not realizing.
It was already a state of fact that I actually wrote about, and I completely forgot. So
we're totally good authorities on the subject.
So maybe our predictions aren't as valid.
Not as predictions anyway, but
No.
stating the obvious. Um, so anyway, so one of the other things we learn about Dougal, and I don't think it was necessarily a great revelation, because I sort of thought that from the beginning, is that Dougal wants to take over for Callum when he dies, which, from what we understand about Callum's disease, he should have done long ago.
Yes.
Um, so obviously that's a not so distant future concern for them, and that Jamie actually poses a threat to Dougal's ability to take over. Even though Dougal is kind of obviously a good leader, he's rough around the edges, and Jamie's sort of like the has no faults, everyone loves him guy.
Well, the difference is in Jamie's bearded bestie, who I don't really know who he is, explains it to Claire, is that it's not like a hierarchy like within the English class society, whereas any member within the Mackenzie clan could be up to be Column's replacement. So as long as you're from the Mackenzies, it's like they kind of like vote on it. So at the moment, Jamie is seen. He's the nephew of Colum and Dougal, and he doesn't have the Mackenzie last name because his mother was their sister. So he's actually part of another clan, but he would be able to take Colum's place if a vote were to take place, and they voted for Jamie.
Right. Have we learned what clan Jamie's actually a member of? I mean, obviously it would be McTavish or whatever. But
Well,
like,
that's not his real name. That's not his real last
right,
name.
that's the name he like makes up.
Yeah.
But like, whatever clan he's a member of, why can't he go there? Why can he
I,
only go to Castiliac?
I don't know. Maybe it was the closest place. I don't know.
It's like, but he, like, his, as you call him, bearded bestie, says that Castle Leoch is the only safe place in Scotland for him.
Maybe he's wanted by his clan. I don't know.
I don't know, but he doesn't, take the oath, which
Or
got the oath, which was interesting. Uh,
yeah,
so
um, I don't. It could have also been that Jamie might be the only person left of his original clan because Black Jack Randall did take over his home. So
okay,
he could have like all of them for all we know. Like we don't really know much about that yet.
right, right, okay, yeah. So it's probable that his home is not safe because it's been taken over by the British,
Yeah.
English, whatever. My brain's not working. It's cool.
He escaped jail.
Yeah,
So
and if he goes back, then he ends up in jail, in irons, as they say. And apparently, if he stays at Castle Leoch and he takes the oath, he will be killed by Dougal. And if he refuses to take the oath, he will be killed by Callum. So he's in a lovely place, which is why he's hiding in the stables the whole time.
he's in a pickle.
He's in a bit of a pickle, but then he gets out of it by with lovely words.
Yeah.
It's very
Because
simple.
there's no right at this moment, there's still no flaw to Jamie.
Right, he's still perfect, and it's
Yeah.
really bothering me. I'm like, I want him to do something deplorable so that we have a little thing that we can hold against him.
Like even he's hiding in the stables. Claire like runs over him. He automatically knows what Claire's gonna do.
Right, exactly.
Like knows her whole entire plan.
Even though she lost her food thingy in the hallway.
Yeah. Like walks her, like takes her, it was gonna like walk her home, like all that, and like there's just nothing, like, yeah, he does like this great, like makes up this great oath that like makes everyone happy.
Yeah, he's like, I swear my allegiance to you as Mackenzie, but I will not swear an oath to Clan Mackenzie because I'm already in another clan and you can't have me and blah blah blah. But I still respect you. Don't kill me,
As
basically.
my uncle, blah blah blah, and like then drinks the whole cup. My question was like, I guess they don't clean that cup. Like I was just like, ew, germs. Like the whole time.
Ew, germs in a place that has like nothing as far as sanitary anything.
I'm just saying.
Yes, okay, we understand. But then also, like, when he finds her and he is going to take her back home, he does that even though he knows that by
Someone,
doing it, he likely will die.
yeah. I like my favorite one of my favorite moments in the show was when his bearded bestie. I have no freaking idea who this guy is. Like, I'm just gonna say I'm calling him the bearded bestie. I went on IMDb. The guy doesn't even have like a picture on his IMDb page, but he's apparently from the same clan as Jamie because they both have the same last name
Oh, okay.
on IMDb. So I don't know. I don't know if they're brothers. I don't know what the hell they are. But it's his bearded bestie who's always with him. And
Yes.
and like he's explaining the situation to Claire, and she goes, "Oh, it's all my fault." And he goes, "It always is," or something like
Yeah,
that.
he says yes, yes it is.
Yes, it is. Like no sugarcoating. Like you dumb bitch. Now Jamie's like gonna die. Like
Yeah, exactly. Which again is one of those like, oh, don't we love all the Scottish people?
yeah,
Uh,
but Jamie, you need a flaw. You need a flaw.
He desperately needs a flaw. It doesn't have to be a major flaw. It just has to be something that we can disagree with him about. Because right now he's just doing all of these amazingly, like, maybe his flaw is that he has no flaws, and he's just pissing me off because he's not.
Because he is making us mad that he doesn't have a flaw, so we are mad at him. So could this be it?
Maybe that's what they were going for, was that you're getting pissed off
Perfect.
at his flaws.
It's too perfect. That will
Wait.
really kill him.
That's really, really annoying.
Or maybe like he wears underwear under his kilt.
Oh my god! Flaw.
Flaw. That's it.
So, and then Jamie and Dougal like fight it out in their field hockey.
Yeah, but then like,
And they're fine.
yeah. So weird.
So very, very, very strange. And so very violent.
Yeah.
I guess it's just the Scottish way, I suppose.
But we didn't have any boobs in this episode, so we need violence.
We did not have boobs. We did have gore. We did get to see lots of intestines when the guy got gutted by the boar.
Yeah. So no boobs means gore, violence, and blood. Now, if we have boobs, we would only have a little bit gore and blood. But, you know.
There you go. That's the fair trade, is that they're not going to be like, see, we're not Game of Thrones. We're not giving you all of the boobs and gore and violence.
At once.
Not at once. It's going to be a little bit.
Yeah. They're like spacing it out.
Yeah. Just doling it out in small doses. You know, we'll get tons of it in the finale.
Yeah, we'll get a lot of side boob maybe next episode or something. Like, you know.
Well, now Claire's again going to be the only. I wonder. Okay, we've been getting all this cool stuff. This is a good transition to the gay list stuff. We've been getting all this good stuff between Claire and Mrs. Fitz and her friend Gayless or whatever. But now Claire is going on the road with Dougal and Jamie. And like, are we going to get any more with them? That's what I'm wondering, because I really, really like Claire's relationship with the women, and we've had so much talk about like women in this society and how they don't have as many rights as the women in our society, and we're wondering, like, you know, so with Claire going off by herself as the only woman on this little like excursion, what's that going to be like for?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be weird. Like, it already just looks like, just from like that 30-second preview, it just like looks weird. And it's like everyone's going. Like, did you see all those people like on their horse? Like the whole, like, who the frig's left at the castle?
Well, Colum is obviously left at the castle.
Yeah, that's about it. And like, who knows? Like, who? How many people does it take to collect some rent? What are they doing?
Apparently, a lot of people.
Yeah.
I don't know. So that'll be really interesting. We're going to be going out on the road. We're going to be seeing more of Scotland and more of this world that they live in, and more like close quarters conversations, because you're not going to be able to, you know, hide in the castle in different places to have smaller conversations. So it's going to be a lot more of like her and Jamie and Dougal and her and other people. I didn't see the preview, but is Gayless going with them?
No, but you would think she would.
You would think she might. If her husband is going, then you would think she might. But
is her husband go? Like, I don't really understand this whole.
I don't really understand it either. But speaking of Gayless, there was the only real scene that Gayless had, even though she's in the hall for the whole episode, is this little startling conversation when she brings port to Claire, and they have another conversation about Claire's origins,
Mhm.
where it's
Her
so obvious that Kalis knows she's not from around here.
origin story. Like she's like a superhero.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's really obvious that Galis knows. Like she's got something. She's hiding something. She's obviously hiding something. And the question is whether Galis is trying to get her to say it because she doesn't want to be the one that says it first, and like she wants Claire to trust her, or if she's trying to get it out of her because they're not. She's not friendly.
I want to believe the first part. I think like Galis has it all figured out, and it's just like pulling for Claire to be like, "Hey, I came through the frickin' stones and I time traveled. Get off my back." Like I feel like that's what she wants. But then
Yeah.
like she also has that. I I think Galis believes in magic, but I think if Claire like tells her about this, then she'll be like over the top, like, yes, magic exists. This is what we can do. Blah blah blah. Like I think she wants to be like she wants that recognition, and she's like really wants Claire to tell her.
My question is, does she believe in magic, or is she a practitioner of magic?
I think at this point, I think she believes in it, and I think if Claire tells her, then I think maybe she'll switch over to practicing it. I think she needs something.
Part of me thinks she actually does practice, but that she does it sort of quietly, like where she pretends like it's just a ha ha ha, I'm the town witch
Yeah.
thing, but in reality she really is. Like that's my guess, is that she really is the town witch, that she that she really does practice magic, but that it's not actually like it's not all love potions and blah 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 like people like to think of witchcraft. She's sort of playing on the stereotype to keep herself employed,
Yeah.
and is but in reality she actually practices the real like druidic um, sort of witchcraft. That's my guess.
I'm just hoping we find out soon.
Yeah, I think we'll find out in maybe not the next couple of episodes. I think we'll find out by the mid-season break
Hmm.
in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think we'll find out by the mid-season break, because I think Galis is going to be integral to getting Claire back home.
Hmm.
I think actually Claire will get back. The people that will be involved in getting her back home will actually be a combination of Jamie Dougal and Galis.
Yeah.
That's just my guess. That's my prediction. What's yours?
Okay. Well, I think that ideally this is the perfect, like, being on the road is probably the perfect time for Claire to escape. Because she could, for all we know, be going to, what was it, Inverness? Is that the
In,
town?
yeah, that's the town, and then it's
Oh,
something
no,
else.
the
Never pronounce.
stones that are near there.
Yeah.
But I think questions are going to be raised while she's on the road, because I think she will probably say stuff that will make her sound like a spy, or she'll probably do something with medicine, and we'd be like, how did you know to do this? Are you a witch? Like, that kind of crap will be going on. And I think I think it's going to be, she'll run into more problems on the road than she probably would if she stayed at the castle.
Well, now that she's out of the castle and she's out on the road, like no one at the castle really questions her because she's under the protection of Callum,
Yeah.
personal guest. So now she's on the road and she's out with all these people who don't freaking care, really. I think she's going to face a lot more scrutiny.
Well, she's also out with Dougal and Dougal's men. These aren't Callum's men. These are Dougal's dudes. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like, whereas they were her guards, they still let her do a lot. But now she's not in like this large castle. It's a tight-knit group with not a lot of places for her to go. So I think there's going to be a lot more questions of her abilities and what she knows. So I think she could run into more problems.
Yeah, I also think she's going to run into problems facing some more of like the societal mores and stuff, because she's probably going to run into more women dealing with things that she doesn't want them to deal with, or more of the like the religious stuff that she dealt with in the second episode.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's going to deal with a lot more of that stuff, and her being outspoken outside of the castle is going to be a problem.
Yes. So I guess we'll see. I just think there's going to be a lot more drama.
Yes, I think getting her out and into the rest of Scotland is definitely going to be a lot more drama.
Yes.
Okay, I think that's pretty much all we had.
Yeah.
We did have a couple of tidbits that we wanted to mention. The author of the books had a cameo in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
He got to be one of the ladies.
And she like had a cameo that had like 2 lines, so that's like a big deal. Usually they don't let them talk, but she actually had 2 lines. One was which was shh, but it was delivered nicely.
It was delivered quite nicely, the shush.
Yeah.
And then there were a lot of people saying shush. His bearded bestie also says that. And then there's also a really interesting interview on Vulture with Kait, who plays Claire, about feminism and some of the things we've talked about in the last few episodes. I will leave the link to that in the description on YouTube, and probably in the link from All Geek to Me. So I think that's about it. Is there anything else you wanted to add?
No, I'm good.
All right. Well, then we will sign off. This has been Two Geeks, One Show. Two Geeks, One Show. Two Chicks, One Show. I am dying of con flu right now because I was at Dragon Con last weekend, so we're going to ignore all of my brain farts today. That brings us to an end of episode 4 of Two Chicks, One Show, Outlander, The Gathering. If you would like to let us know what you thought of the episode, you can talk about it in the comments section, either on YouTube or the website. Let us know, and we will be back next week with episode 5. So long.
Bye.